Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Rao coming on to you uh, to share some thoughts I had this morning. Um, and I was talking to my folks in India, and these things have come up. So I thought I will come and share some of that with you folks who are listening to me or following me. And have good time in that way, right? So what was happening was we were all suffering from stress, and now the young people are also saying that I'm stressed out. Even a small kid will tell you, "Oh, I'm stressed out," that kind of thing, right? So I thought I will help uh, uh, to understand what are the factors involved, both outside and inside of us, and um, show you some understanding of mine, which helps me to deal with the stresses I have in my own life, right? Um, so basically, when you really look at the stress, it was not heard of when we were growing up. We never heard anybody saying, "I'm stressed out." They were saying, "I have difficult times," but they didn't say that they are losing their mind, they are losing sleep, they are losing appetite, anything like that. But after 60s and 70s, this thing has surfaced, and the more we are trying to deal with it, the more it seems to be with everybody. That is something true, that this is happening with people, right? So I kind of wanted to um, bring forth some of the um, findings of the stress measures from age-old wisdom, right? It is commonsensical, it is there in our life, but we don't pay attention to them. But they do tell us, okay, oh, take a breath, take it easy, take it light, or go easy, man, or why are you making a big deal out of this? Things like that. They will be talking to us all the time, right? Um, there are some four things that you could level down, which we do that, we will all be less stressed, at least, or no stress. Okay. So number one is uh, we want to live with a lot of things, right? All the time. But the wisdom says, make it as few as essential things as possible in your accumulation of things. Okay. If you can do that, that means don't go on accumulating things. Okay, in our own life, my own house also, what it is over several years of living, we noticed that we accumulated a lot of things that might have gone done use, and then they're still there, or some of them are replaced, or some of them are newer things are brought up, and all that, right? So what does it mean? That means we are unconsciously accumulating a lot of things, but the boat, the cars, the various houses, the things in each house, they become so overcrowded, then we put a lot of them in our garages. And then the garages are filled up too. Then we're going to put them in a rental space. These are all the facts of life that we all have in America. We see that. So we began to say, what is that we absolutely need? And what is that is junk for us? Let us throw the junk away. That's one. And then see what are the things that we don't need, but they are valuable, but that will be valuable to somebody else. So give it away. That's the second one. And the third one is really see that are valuable, but we need the money, then we can sell it off them and make it light for us. Okay. And the fourth one is really what we need, we'll keep. Okay. Essentials, needed ones, that kind of living it at home provided us a lot of simplicity, a lot of focus on what we are doing, and a lot of spending time with people and enjoying and all that. Instead of washing the boat or taking care of it and all that, that is given up. So much is got rid of, right? Like that. Instead of so many cars, just one or two cars that were needed for us, that is enough, or live in an area where you don't even need a car. Okay, that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that that kind of attitude. That's one is do with less rather than more, both externally and internally. But externally, if you start doing that, that's good, right? That's one thing they suggested, to have a simple life, to have a non-accumulative nature of things and all that. That is aparigraha, they said, right? That is like non-accumulation, non-really holding on to things and all that. That's one thing that can really reduce your stress. The second thing is, uh, can we uh, have more of giving away the credit, the praise, and whatever? Let the other person enjoy. That means you put the person before you for things. So you will be taking less of a credit, less of love and affection. Instead, give it to somebody else. That's the second L I talk about. And then they said, suppose a mother is there and a mother wants to eat something, but then she thinks that her children are coming home, then she will save for the children. That means let them eat, let me have less of it, then I'll be happy. Okay. So that kind of giving away things, giving away credit and all that to other people, that's the second thing that we could do. And the third thing is, in case of a lot of energy spent in arguments or in enforcing our will on other people and making sure that we win all the time. Instead, let the other person have his will, have his way, have his win, that kind of thing. If you can do that, then we won't have to have this need of domination, need of telling them this is it. That's the third one. And the final one is, if you can really understand the age-old thing, like saying, they call it in Sanskrit Iswarecha. That means everything is God's will and it will run according to Him. And if you could really put yourself like that, then it will be easier to accept things as they come. Not that you don't want to work, not that you want to exert your will to really do a good job. It's not that. But just do the work, then leave the result to the ultimatum. That is a good way of doing karma yoga. Okay. So these four two external things always help us. Okay. Having less things and expecting a lot of credit, instead just do with less credit, or looking out for the other person, and really allowing other people to have their way. So I want to finish last, they can go fast, that kind of thing. And really seeing the will of God in everywhere, that all those things will help externally. And now, when it comes to internally, there were so many things ancient divide really went into tedious effort to tell us how we work, how we worship some other force than us, like a god. You think if you don't do God, the energy that goes on, that moving the world. And then uh, how you focus your mind, and how you deal with your heart, and how you really understand what is the real knowledge, real understanding, real life, and all that. That is the self-realization they talked about, which is really transcends the any suffering in the form of stress. Okay. So for example, they built it up, right? They said, okay, you want to live, but you want to live in a moral and ethical way. So that is dharmic way, they said. And then you want to work, but you want to work unselfishly. That is nishkama karma. Okay. The karma yoga means you're doing your job without expecting anything in return, right? So those two ways, having a moral and ethical and honest life with a good conscience, and working not just for yourself but people and other people, the country, your society, and all of that. That kind of unselfish activity, that's very good. And then what do you do with your heart? How do you allow love for everybody manifest? Suppose you love God, and then you see God in everybody, then you see the same way you look at the God, you look at everybody with love. That means you are not separating anybody, you are all seeing all in one energy. You can put it that way. If you suppose you are atheist, you are not a believer in God, you can see that we are all in the same energy, and the energy can be really spent properly when you don't think that we are separate from each other. Rather, he is my brother, rather than saying that he is somebody else. I'm going to compete, I'm going to defeat, I'm going to win over him. Instead that, you kind of say, oh, he is my brother, I will do things for him, he will do things for me, we will be cooperating with each other, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is how you keep your work, how you keep your heart. And then the mind. Why do you have to keep the mind running all the time? Slow it down, calm it down twice a day. That's what they said. And finally, once your mind is pure, your heart is pure, and you're working unselfish work, then you are ready for to really go for the spiritual realm and understanding who you are. You are not just this body and mind, but you are that energy that is circulating with everybody. So this is for the internal stresses, that all the thoughts coming up, all the hatreds or angers coming up, or there's a selfish desires coming up, or uh, really not knowing what it is, what we are. That is the ignorance. All those things are internal matters, and these are the ways that the ancients suggested for the internal matters. So this is a brief thing. I was talking to my friends and family this morning about how we can really be centered in ourselves so that we can deal with the life's challenges and stresses that come our way without reacting internally. So that is the way the stress is really formed, not external circumstances, but how we respond from within to that. But once you understand, once you really adjust that internal mellow, internal nature, internal atmosphere, then anything presented to us, we can face it with equanimity and resilience. Thereby, we can attend to the task instead of worrying about the task as a result, instead of worrying about what the credit we get, instead of what ego and all of that. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. And I think Notch is here. I'll try to bring him up, and then we'll talk a little bit. So usually he has a contribution too. So hi, Notch.
Hello, good morning, doctor. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing very good. It is an interesting topic, actually. Right.
Yeah. It's a very practical topic for us, right? All of us, we go through all these things, and then just a little bit of reflection and understanding helped me a lot. So I thought I will share that with everybody. So
So good job, good job. Actually, I tell you one thing about my life.
yeah.
When I was in the business, I was getting a lot of stress.
Oh.
But once I start changing my life, after I met some American in the clubhouse, so they guide me a lot of things.
Yeah.
How to do the business and blah, 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 blah. But now I'm working without stress. And good thing that I learned from you is that because you teach me how to start the day, how to end up the day.
Yeah.
So after that, I feel much, much comfortable than before.
Yeah. 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 You see, we usually allow our reactions build up inside without really paying attention to it. And lots of times we don't have to react like that. Once we realize that, okay, let it go or take it light, something like that, that helps us a lot, and then you can easily smile, and then you can easily not allow yourself to get into that perpetual thinking or worrying or imagining things like that, right? So you feel so much better because we are not making a bad soup within ourselves by our own reactions. So yeah, good. That's good.
And also, actually, I got the very bad stress after I start liking one girl. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the worst nightmare I ever got in my whole life.
Yeah.
But now I'm much better than before.
I
Because
see.
now I know how to balance the things in my life.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. I mean, these are the practical things that we could use, and we could really live a much happier, much less stressed life. That's what I believe. That's why we need to spend time on reflection of these things. So,
So, doctor, doing the yoga also, I saw one article. It gives more oxygen to the mind.
yeah, yeah.
So I can feel. So I can feel that.
Yeah. Actually, that's good though, because in the morning when I get up, suppose I want to get up earlier, what I do is I take 1 minute and take some few deep breaths, and there's a special breathing called Ujjaini that I do that, and then my alertness increases, my oxygen to the brain goes up, and then that's why I get out of the bed very enthusiastically and spring in the step, like they call it, and that comes very easily. you know so deep breathing is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I'm doing is I used to do the yoga, I used to do the evening jogging, but now I'm planning to change jogging to the morning, and evening I'm planning to do the yoga.
Yeah. Even in the jogging also, I teach people how to use the deep breathing to improve our oxygenation of the muscles. That way, people can really, run better instead of having cramps, instead of having, you have to stop in the middle. They run better. So that's why what it is you take a deep breath, then, in slow burst of two or three, you breathe out like that. If you do that, you'll expel more air, and automatically your body demands more air in. So you can do the breathing practice while you are running, but at the same time, you can nourish your body with more oxygen, and then you have less of lactic acid. That's why you don't have better chance of not having cramps. So you'll have less cramps by theory. But if you do effective breathing, you won't have. For example, I do treadmill walking every day, right? I don't have any cramps because of this breathing style.
Okay, good to hear. Good to hear that. But the way I do the breathing is the way I do the yoga.
Yeah.
I used to do the inhale by the nose and exhale from the mouth.
Yeah, you can do that. But then usually what happens is initially you will be breathing out through the mouth, but later on you go into through the nose only. And that is much more effective because none of it escapes into your stomach, and it goes into your lungs, down lungs, and that's very good for you. Yeah, sure.
So it means I have to use nose to breathe in, or
yeah. Initially it's good. Okay, taking the deep breath in and breathe out through like this. You go. That way you will do a breath. But then later on, what happens is you can close the mouth, through the nose. That is the natural, because nose is given for us to breathe through it and breathe through out. But in the beginning, you can use the mouth, and then once you get comfortable with the deep breathing, then you can switch to only nose. That is the progress you will experience by yourself. You gain the capacity, and then you will do it by yourself. You don't have to use the mouth anymore. Only in the beginning you can use
it. Okay, doctor. Okay, thank you so much.
That's a good way to breathe during the running or fast walking and all that. Thereby you can do more of it, because you are what you are doing is, when you are running or walking, whatever, you are making the muscles work, right? And those muscles demand more oxygen. When you are taking the deep breath and making the breath stay in your lungs longer, there is more oxygen going into the system. And that's why you don't get the cramps, you don't get the tiresome and all that, you know. Actually, it's a good cardiovascular conditioning, because that way your heart functions better because it's getting more oxygen, and your lungs perform better because more alveoli open. On demand they open, otherwise they won't open. Suppose it's in shallow, then only the upper lobes are most efficient and the lower lobe not that much. But when you get a deep breath, lower lobe alveoli open, and then more surface for the oxygen to go in there, and more surface for carbon dioxide come out. See, that's why deep breathing is very important for us. Do you know the animals who live longer, they breathe very slowly. Elephant, for example, it breathes 4 or 5 times a minute. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, they did very very long, and they do like hundreds of years, right? But then they breathe very slowly. That's one thing we know. All the animals who live longer, they breathe less time. That's why in pranayama, prana is that energy that comes through the breath, right? Ayama means extending it. So if you breathe slowly and fewer times, you live longer.
Okay, noted. Valuable information.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing, but we are not paying attention to that kind of thing. And it's not enough to just know about it. You got to practice it. You got to bring it to your life, right?
So do you know, after I met, I'm always keeping on mind the attention for everything, each and everything I'm doing. Do you know?
Yeah.
Doctor, what I learned from the gym in the modern days, everybody was having the phone. After they go gym, they used to take the selfie.
Yeah.
Then now I can realize that that is wrong. You know what I'm going to do is, if I go jogging, no, I didn't take my phone. I just go for concentrate in my jogging.
Yeah.
And if I do the workouts, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's a very good thing that I learned from you.
Yeah. Just paying attention to everything improves our day's performance a lot more. Otherwise, we are kind of occupied with something. We are thinking of that and this, and that's not really what is needed, right? So that's what I always tell them: pay attention to every action. It's like I'm doing something with you. I'm talking to you. I'm paying attention to what is being said, what we are talking about. The simple as that. So,
So that's the one of the best thing that I learned from you, because I'm keeping all this attention for each and everything that I'm doing, especially in my work, and plus if I do the yoga or if I do jogging also.
yeah.
So it's always in my mind.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This is what makes my day. Even if I come, 1 or 2 people are there, and if they got something out of it, and then or they have reinformed, or they contributed to something, my day is made. you know. So it's not how many people we have; it's about how many people really understood and also practicing that. Right? That's the kind of thing.
Usually, the doctor, we can discuss about the same kind of mindset. We can't mix the word and knowledge together.
Yeah.
Because for me, I always believe that I'm lucky to meet you somehow, because you're giving the very good information and you share your knowledge to the public.
Sure, yeah.
So that's our duty to think about it.
Yeah.
People can't fall.
Yeah, that's a very good thing, Nach, because see, all these things are not just mere techniques for me. This is life. I really see a lot of side effects of or ultimate complications of the stress. People have gastritis, people have headaches, people have insomnia, people have constipation, people have not able to focus very well and do their things, and also don't have the good relationships because of the ill health or their anger or whatever, right? And so many side effects I see because of the stress, and they don't know how to manage themselves in situations where they need their attention, they need their focus, they need their energy, right? All these are rubbed off when you're constantly allowing yourself to be the reacting to the events in a stressful way. It's mostly it's how we react. Once we understand these things, and then we say, okay, if I have a challenge, I'm not supposed to lose my abilities. I'm supposed to focus them, concentrate, and then do them. So this attention to everything helps with that. Otherwise, you are doing something, suppose you are seeing some TV or some political violence or something, it will take your attention away, and then you don't do both of them, either this or that, right?
So actually, I tell you one thing that I never think about the politics because I grew up in India.
Yeah.
So actually very well about the Indian politics system.
Mm.
So usually, I'm always thinking about to develop my mindset. I don't care about what the politicians are doing.
Yeah.
Because all I know about them is they do something for their own benefit. So they never think about the public.
Yeah.
But they always speak, they are thinking, they are always speak that they always talk about they want to do, they want to, but at the end of the day, they will never do anything.
Yeah,
public.
That's where I'm talking about. These older places, actually, this yoga was taught to the emperors and kings also, big administrators also, because they first have to know what is dharmic way. Dharmic way is moral, ethical, honest way, and kind of unselfish a little bit, right? You work for the society, for whatever you are working for the political system. But these days, people have forgotten these internal values are important, and they give you peace of mind and also clear conscience and all that. What they are going for is this, what I talked about, more things, always accumulate them, and then what are they going to do with them? They were useless afterward. This first principle I talked about, aparigraha, which is accumulation, non-accumulation of things. That means they propose simple life, have a good internal life, and the modern, not to just one country, everywhere, this has become the priority. And the advertisement, the marketing, everything encourages us to buy more stuff. There is happiness in your car. There is happiness in eating this particular food. Or there's happiness going this vacation. They promote all those. But actual fact is your happiness is within you, and you got to find that, instead of everybody is going for all these things, and these marketing forces are helping to promote that. That's why I say modern lifestyle of looking for happiness outside in the things is totally wrong. From that, these people, these kind of leaders come up, and then they use money to get elected, and then what they do, they kind of accumulate money for them. Indian the says political system, you look at it, there's a lot of corruption. People are accumulating so much of wealth at the cost of. Then I heard a statistics not the other day. They were saying middle class number has increased in India. It has increased up to 67% now, I believe. That's a good one, from 25% way back and before the independence. Now they have come. At one time, when they were following all these principles, they were number one in GDP. And then they got down because they have compromised on that, and they are aping this Western style of accumulating things, and that is basically sensory pleasure, outward things pleasure. That's what they're promoting all the time, but their own people are not happy, right? But now this middle class has increased, but actual wealth, if you measure it, 60% of the wealth worked by only 1% of Indian population. So that's terrible, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So do you know, Dr. Rahul, in 2005, I checked the millionaires amount. There was 500 billion on that amount, Delhi itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that even here also, America also, they say 90% of wealth is owned by 1% of population. Say the rest of them really struggling to make ends meet, to really make money in so many other things, always working. They have no time to really take this reflection I'm talking about, taking time. Like how many people take time in the morning for 10, 15 minutes, in the evening 10, 15 minutes? Just sit down, shut your eyes, and calm your mind. You don't have to be any religious for that. Just do that. Then the mind will be more centered and more focused. And that way you can do our stuff better. Otherwise, you're always in anxiety, you're always in running, you're always pursuing something that may not be important for you. So that's why I always tell them take some time just to at least in the junction of sleep and awakeness. We are awake in the morning, that is one time, and then at the night time before you go to sleep, that is the time. Both those times, if you can calm your mind and sleep on that or wake up on that, you can have better calm day and also much deeper sleep. What do you think? Do you think that's good or not?
No, that's a good idea actually. Yeah. So these things will become only from the discipline.
Yeah. And then once we do that, then our thought will be under our control. Then you can direct it towards what is meaningful for you, what's important for you. That's why they talk. This is called Raja Yoga, the king of yogas in India. What does it mean is it is the yoga of mind. It's a yoga of focus. It's a yoga of concentration. How do you get it? First of all, you have to rest your body properly. Then you sit down and then breathe deeply. Then make sure your senses are withdrawn. And then you kind of focus and go to one thought and go beyond one thought into the complete silence. If you cannot do all of that, just sitting down and just focusing on the breath and focusing on really emptying all the unnecessary thought, that's a good thing we can do for ourselves every day. That's what I teach in my wellness club. But more people have to come. They don't take advantage of it, but if they come, they will definitely feel better. So. Oh, by the way, the next Saturday night, I'm going to do this brief demonstration of a simple yoga routines. Okay, that involves the breathing, that involves the vinyasa, which is pose to pose, and sun salutations. And then we will go into the deeper yoga practice of breathing, and also this other things we're going to talk about. What is meditation, what is deeper things. So it may be, the program is only 17 minutes constructed. It may run 20, 25 minutes. Maybe another 15, 20 minutes I will talk. Any questions are there, we'll talk about it. I think it's at 9 o'clock Central Time. Saturday, next Saturday, December 3rd, I think. Yeah, that's when it is. If you want, you send me a DM, I will send you the Zoom link. It is on Zoom. So you have to request for the link, then I will send it. I don't want to put it just like that because a lot of trolls were happening. That's why this Zoom thing is only for people who are interested. I want to do that. Like I said, even if I have 1 or 2 people, I will do that sincerely, because whatever we do, we have to pay attention to that, right? That's what I do with that.
So, doctor, the main matter for me is actually the time difference. For me now it's 10 past 11 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, where are you now?
I'm living in Modi. It's near to the India.
Yeah. Okay. 9 o'clock.
It's close to the South India.
Yeah. The 9 here is 8:30 p.m. there.
So I guess we have the 12 hours difference.
Yeah. But mine is AM, yours will be PM. Okay, because I talk to my sister every day. I know that. And right now for them it is 12:10 here. It will be like close to 11:40 there, PM. That will be night for them, but for me it's at daytime. So I put 9 o'clock because India will be 8:30, and then East Coast will be 10 o'clock a.m. And that's not too bad. That's why I do that. Okay. So anybody on the Wisdom app want to come up? I'll be happy to talk to you guys. There are 20 people there, Anach. That's why I was asking. I don't know why they're shy to come up. They can come up if they have contribution or question, or just to engage me. you know. So let's see. Larry is here. If he wants to come up, we'll ask him to come up too. So what else, Nachi? Do you want to ask any question or tell me anything that you want to say?
No, for me it's fine, Doctor. I'm always thinking about the topics that which you have mentioned. So we all are living on the different kind of stress. So that's one thing that I've learned. So everybody has their stress.
Yeah.
Because you know that our life always keeps changing and our responsibility is getting high day by day.
Yeah.
And day by day the tech system also getting changed. We have seen so many things about our normal living.
Yeah, that's it. Every day something is going on all the time. And then I describe this like this. Suppose there's a fast flowing river is in front of you, and you are in the middle of the river, and you are getting swept away by the river current. Then you want to pay attention to only that and then deal with it, right? But if you, on the other hand, you're on the banks of the river and you are able to see what is going on in the river, you have a better idea about what the struggle is going through for the people who are there. What can they do? They can reach for a branch, they can reach for the shore, or they can really cry for help. Somebody else can go give it, that kind of thing. So if you are embedded in the current of life and you are swept away by the events, then you don't have the time to even reflect on what is life, what we do. This, the ancient did very well. They did very well about how to really deal with situations like that. They were kind of examined the psychoneurology, spiritualism, all that, what is important in life and all that. They did a much better job because they were always having simple life. These rishis that I was talking about all the time, who had this intuitive wisdom because they were always meditative and then visualizing a lot of things and found answers to a lot of life's issues. Whereas we kind of want to improve the river flow, the river bed and everything, all the technology, everything we use to make this stream better. They kind of left that stream and watched it and told us how to save ourselves from the consequences of drowning or consequences of swept away or consequences of dying in there, all that. So that's how I look at it. That's why sometimes spent everyday reflection is very important. Just think about, what do I think about life? Where do we come from? Where do we go? Those are the existential issue. I happened to spend a lot of time because I was inclined that way. I was always pushed towards that kind of thing. So there is so much wisdom that was there in all religions, all countries. If you look at a little bit behind and say, okay, apart from science and technology, what was the human evolution, human brain, human understanding? And then you will get a lot of wisdom from everybody, any religion, I think.
But if we're talking about our ancestors, what I can tell you is that today we are not living the way they lived.
Yeah.
Because do you know, I tell you one thing, I have a very bad experience with my mom, okay? Because when she was young, they don't have much work to do. They have an easy life. But she always keep complaining to me that if I didn't visit her, then I was thinking that why my mother was demanding me to visit her always, okay? And I was just thinking my own self, and I got the idea, maybe on her life, they are not be so busy, so they can't be realize that our life today.
Yeah.
So that's how I was feeling about my mama better.
No, I was talking to my son also. I told him something like, it's always the people that are important than things of our mind or things of our profession and all. They can be done, but the people will not be there forever. So when my mom was alive, I had the same principle. So I was the one who was going, reaching out to her, and now talking to her on the phone and all that. At that time, phone was very difficult for me. So then she came here, she lived with us, and she passed away here, and she was spending a lot of time with us, But that was something that we always said, we have to take care of them when they are alive, because after they're gone, they won't be there, right? That is the very commonsensical thing for me. I was able to do that, so I'm happy about it. But the other brothers and all, they were not able to do because they were occupying themselves with the work and all that. They didn't make time. If you have the will, you can make time, I think. But sometimes you may not be able to. Then what it is write to them, talk to them, phone, that kind of thing. So I told my son also, people are more important than things. If you have that mind, you can make an attempt sometime to do that. Just making an attempt itself is a very good thing. How much you can do depends upon the life circumstances, but is the intention there within us? That is what I look at all the time. If there's the intention that I want to find out what's going on, I want to see whether I can help. That's what I do with my sister. She is now 81-year-old now, right? But I talk to her almost every day. Even today also I talk to her for a half an hour or so. Even if I cannot spend sometimes 5 minutes, at least even 5 minutes. Sometimes I may just leave a chat. Nowadays, the communication is so easy and free also. But earlier when I was doing that with my family at home, I had to spend hundreds of dollars because even a few minutes cost us so much money then. But nowadays, it's all WhatsApp is all free, right? So it's a wonderful thing. So it's the intention.
I also used to visit my mom weekly, but for her, that's not enough actually.
Yeah, moms are like
I
that.
always actually keep in mind that my mother name always when I was busy or anything, but her name will be always in my mind.
Yeah.
And for the communication, doctor, I have a very bad experience when I was in India. Actually, my wife, my second wife, she's a doctor. She was studied on the Jaipur. I think SMS College, I think.
Jaipur,
so do you know, in the whole hostel, there was only one phone, that for the 400 girls. So I have to wait in the queue to get online.
Oh my! Yeah, that's a difficult. Nowadays they have the smartphone, so with that they're doing much better, right? I hope so. Because I can do from my phone, even if I'm going out, it will come to the LTE and I can talk to my sister. See, I used to drive to these other hospitals, which are say, far away. I had temporary contracts with them, 3 months, 6 months, like that. So I had to travel there. When I was traveling, I used to switch on the phone and immediately connected to India. Then I thought, what a wonderful thing. Before it was not like that, So a very convenient thing, right? No.
But you have to fly for like more than 24 hours not to come to India.
Not now. I think it's 18 hours flight time. And before, it used to take me 3 days to come to India. From here, I had to go from Clinton to Chicago. From Chicago, it will stop in London or some other thing. And then from there to go to Delhi or Bombay. And from Bombay again go to Hyderabad. That's where my folks are. So it's like between the travel time and all of that, it took a lot of time. But nowadays, I can go to Chicago, get on a plane in the afternoon, and tomorrow morning here, I will be there in India. So that's a very convenient thing now. And also, they air pressure these things, right? That's why you don't feel that tired as you used to be before. So, lot improvement, no doubt about it. And also, what I do?
Good to hear that.
Yeah, what I do during the flight, I try to do some things so that they won't give me jet lag, right? Otherwise, jet lag used to be a terrible problem before. But now with my yoga, breathing, and meditation, all this, I don't have jet lag anymore.
Okay.
That's powerful. Suppose everybody's sleeping. Usually, I go to the back of the plane and I do my few stretches and breathing, and come back and sit down and do my stuff a little bit, and slowly acclimatize myself. So you got to understand your body. You got to understand the body clock, and then you got to see. Well, I don't want to drink alcohol. I drink water instead. I kind of don't want to sleep for several hours, but only few hours quality sleep. And also, I don't want to sit a long time. In the sitting, you can do some exercises, and then also you can go back and walk up and down the plane, and also sit in the back and then do the yoga stretches. All those things can be done, but you have to have the intention. You have to understand how useful they are. So all those things really helped me quite a bit.
Okay.
See, that is there was one Satguru.
You mean what's the name of it?
Sadguru, the person is a person. He lives in South India, but he travels all over the world, and he.
He's from Tamil Nadu, right?
Yeah, Tamil Nadu. Okay, he is
okay. I used to follow, but his name is Sandeep or Sangur or something, right?
Sadguru. He's a yogi, and he's also a philanthropist, and he travels around. He travels almost all the year, but he never had this jet lag, and you know what? He's 60 odd years now, and he did 30,000 kilometers of bike riding across the world, to promote this uh, topsoil of the earth. The soil is going away, the organic matter is going away. He wants to bring awareness to the people. So he traveled 30,000 kilometers, and he went by bike. He went to bike some places where he can travel by ship and then get on the road and all that. That was well covered all over. But he, amazing, right? 60 some years, you can ride so many miles with this one, because he does yoga. Everybody, he has the same experience, right? He was very small when he was visited by somebody else who is around 65 years at the time. But that guy is they're climbing in and out of the wells. There are deep wells in India. You know that, right? Deep wells. These people jump in there and then come up, climbing up with bare hands on that walls and then come up, and they are coming pretty fast. But this old man goes in the water and climbs such a way he beats all the kids. Then they wanted to understand what is your understanding. Then he said, I do yoga, and that's right. And then how many Surya Namaskars he does? That the guru is 65 years old. He does 1,000 times a day. And anybody can, if you do 10, that is very good. Okay. But to do so many Surya Namaskars in a day, it requires 2 or 3 hours probably for him. And when he does it, he is a fantastic shape. Till the end also, he kind of was doing very well. I have so many stories like that I have seen. I know how much good they had because of this. They just don't do only physical. They also work on their mind, they work on their feelings, they work on their energy, and all these understandings and all that. Okay. But basically, that physical yoga made them do all of that. So everybody does it once a week and all that. I tell them, do it every day, but they think it's too much. But it's not. It's like my exercise, right? And I do that, but I don't make it only exercise. It's a very good practice to control the mind, to control our energies and all that.
So you're talking about this guy. Can you check my PP?
What?
Can you check my PP? I put the guy picture on my PP.
Okay, I have to.
So he's the guy we're talking about?
Yeah, he is the one. Yes.
Actually, I used to listen him when after my mind gets down.
Yeah, but look at him.
YouTube, I listen him.
Yeah, look at him now.
I used to listen.
Yeah, he is traveling all over the world. He does so many activities and he gets involved so many. But he does. Then somebody asked him in New York, "How can you do all these things?" Then he said, "Just to do yoga. And this is what my experience." Then he related this. So his experience with the yoga teacher. He was not doing yoga after 10 years or so. But then when he saw him, then around the 10-year, 12-year age, he started yoga. But then now he is excelled and he has so much work he is doing for other people. Yeah.
I hear a lot of celebrities also meet him, like Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah, he is well known all over the world. Yes. But I'm saying only.
The way he talks is good.
Yeah, I'm saying an example of what yoga can improve your prowess in which way, physically, mentally, and all of that. So he said a term that really appealed to me was yoga is not about limitations that you have about your body, mind, and all that, but yoga is the possibilities that you can achieve in your body, mind, and energy, and all that. Most of the people are so uh, uh, don't want to know the details of the possibilities, but if they know about it, they can do it. They may not do it right away, but with progress they can do it. With practice over several years you can achieve that. So
he actually loves to live on the peaceful places, like hill places. I always listen to his interviews.
Yeah, he lives in those Black Hills there and in Coimbatore in India. And that's a very nice ashram. But he also has an ashram here in Tennessee, Nashville. We didn't go there. We wanted to go there one time, but we didn't go there. I'm not like his devotee or anything, but I saw his work and I know he does a lot of good work. So I am more into what's called self-inquiry. That means I got to study myself in life. I got to understand my own mind and I got to understand its ways and also understand its limitations and all. That is called self-inquiry. It's very different than just calming the mind, which is the meditation. But this is beyond meditation and knowing ourselves and then being in meditation all the time, meditativeness. That's why there's no stress. Even the exercises are bad. There's no stress because of that.
So it is quite interesting today to listen what you're talking about.
Okay, that's good. At least one person found it interesting. That's nice. I'm happy with that. Yes. Other people are invited too. They can come and talk, but I don't know why they are so shy or, I don't know what it is, the problem. So, yeah, anyway, sum it up. What we are doing today is there is stress in everybody's life these days, and most of the people are going through the stress instead of understanding it and then dealing with it in a nice way. So basically, it is what you are internally, how you react to the stress produces more stress. Difficult situations will be there, but how do you react with what you react is important. And you better learn those things if you want to effectively deal with these external circumstances. And once you are there, then you will be joyfully living life, facing difficulties with a lot of strength and resolve. And that way you can overcome a lot of difficult situations in your life. I think spirituality helps a lot with that. But in India, the highest is called self-realization, realizing who we really are, what we really are. And that will help you to transcend, not completely eliminate the stress and suffering, but transcend by understanding this, And to get to that stage, you need to have your heart and mind purified. You can do it with unselfish work. You can do it with worship of the God in everything that you do. And you can also do it a loving heart. Once you have that, then you can get that knowledge which gives you the self-realization. But that is a long process. So we got to understand ourselves in life as we are living it. And then we can have a joyful life that is physically healthy, mentally balanced, and then with a compassionate, loving heart. You know, that's the philosophy I got hold on to, and that has added to my life a lot. And I'm able to deal with things in my mind, in my life, much better that way. And also enjoy this peace. See, there is one formula I heard one time. I don't know whether I told you Anach before. What it is a real, spiritualized person is somebody, when he closes his eye, he has peace. When he opens the eyes, he wants to say, what can I do for other people? Right? What is not about me helping myself and all that. Whereas for somebody who is not really into spirituality, but when he closes his eyes, he's all, not peaceful at all, agitated, worried, and all that. But when he opens the eyes, he says, who can do something for me? He will always ask for somebody. I thought that was a very simple way of putting the whole thing, so I kind of retain that. So anybody can check by themselves. Am I peaceful when I close my eyes? Am I, when I open eyes, do I look to help somebody? Or am I very worried when I close my eyes and then no mental peace, no conscious, nothing. And then when I open my eyes, I want somebody else to do something. I want to use somebody, something, that kind of thing. I think that's very simply put. Ancients had this simple life. So they were looking for inner transformation, inner self-realization, and all that. So they were simple living and higher thinking. As a modern life has become like that, complicated life outside and very simple inner life. So we got to really look at that and change that a little bit. A lot of people don't like it when they see it because they may say, "Oh, this is too much for me." But that is the spiritual versus materialistic outlook. You know. Does that make sense to you, Nash? Did you get what I said?
Yeah. I'm just thinking about what you said because in my mind, what it says is only the pure positive mindset can be feel like that.
Yeah. And then it's a very peaceful existence. You can have problems outside, but then you'll approach with that kind of peaceful, focused, joyful mind. You can achieve a lot of things, right? And then you can understand these things and be by itself, we are happy. And that is the one thing you will never lose. Anybody else have any questions they want to come up and talk to me about it? Or Kunal is here, Ken is here. Taryn is there. I would like to talk to her, Taryn Thompson, and the Wisdom app. Come up, Taryn. We'll have a discussion on this. Hi, Kunal. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Rao. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good. I'm having a good time talking with Nach here. So I'm glad you come up. What do you think about what we are talking about?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You're right. If you write about stresses, there are a lot of stresses in the modern world.
Yeah.
Some stresses are created by us ourselves. Yeah. So overthinking being one of them. So modern day society problems that old society did not have. So
yeah. Yeah, that's why we started external and internal what can we do? Is the stress outside or inside? How can we respond to the stress that we're, the circumstances that we think are really difficult and all that, See, people are losing their own mental capacities by, losing the attention and all these small talks, all these small, few seconds you have to present everything. That kind of eroding the attention that we normally have. They said it used to be 12 seconds or something, our attention span, right? By average. Now it has gone down to 9 seconds because of these smartphones, all these devices. Did you know that number?
No, I did not. But yeah,
I came to know about recently.
I am myself on my smartphone, but it's a that's why I'm thinking of getting a smartwatch to just avoid being with the phone. So that's a better way to
devices manage. Are okay, but what they are doing through the devices is they're trying to compete for our attention, right? So
yes.
So we got to be smart about it and say, okay, I'm going to use it for what I want, and beyond that, I'm not going to give you control. that's a smart way.
Yes.
I mean, we have to use the devices, but then don't be a slave for that. But that's what they are doing to the kids. They are getting used to this unconscious habit, and then it is very difficult for them, right? So to come out.
Yeah, the best thing is, I think, like as a kid, I was not allowed to watch TV too much. So it's best to keep yourself away from like gaming and all that stuff, because that really helped me to progress. So I think, I mean, at that point, I was very young and I wanted to watch TV, but and carefree. But I mean, there are positives and negatives of that as well.
You see, United States, they have a system called ladder approach. What it is they'll put some highest rewards for the kid and lowest reward, right? On the other hand is highest punishment, lowest punishment, like that. So it's up to you. How do you want to go up the ladder or come down the ladder, right? So if you are doing some things positive for yourself, like you are focusing, study and all that. So they promote that ladder system where kid can really help himself to develop these traits. The other thing is, ancients taught us prayers versus shreyas. That means instant gratification versus long-term gain. So they always focused on the long-term gain, and once the kids do that, then they were rewarded. Instead, going for the instant gratification and then not able to sustain their attention for the long-term gain things, and that I bring it forth in my, even the CEOs, doctors that I kind of talk to about training them about the burnout. That's what I find lots of times people are expecting everything to happen very quickly and they want to happen now, where it takes a lot of time to have it done, right? So that kind of thing.
Yep, you're absolutely right. The whole culture is like in India right now, it's to deliver food and stuff in within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which is crazy.
Yeah,
it used to be
India.
60 minutes, it used to be.
Yeah, India, I feel sad when I see that, Kunal, because India had this glorious wisdom-oriented culture in the back where thousands of years ago. But now we forgot about it and we are aping weaknesses of the West. The weaknesses of the West are ego development and this also profit orientation, instant gratification, all that. Even here, I'm telling them not to do that. Okay, so why can't we learn good things from the modern culture and also good things from the ancient culture? But Indian youth and Indian masses, they are not getting it. That's why there's so many troubles there. So a lot of kids that I talk to, they always look for some good profession, good culture, but they don't pay attention to what's happening within their own mind, and also what are the cultural values that they promote. For example, only IQ was not really promoted. As they said, IQ important, okay, you can become a genius. But without the EQ that promoted by the culture at one time, that is being lost. Say the EQ was that we are all one energy, we are all one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That's why we kind of have to be compassionate, accepting everybody. And that kind of emotional quotient really helped us at that time. But now these people are fighting about the age-old things, Hindu, Muslim, and all of that, and also women and men separation. Women are subject to a lot of troubles. All those things are not good for the world, for the country itself. I wish they were able to bring back, not to go back and live there, but understand the wisdom. For example, mind. Yoga is for the mind, but very few people know it. They just think it's only the bodily exercise. Body exercise, definitely you do them. I do them because it's healthy. But missing out the important, real good things about yoga, I think that is a tragedy.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're absolutely right. It's all about aping the Western culture out here. It's. I mean, there are perks and there are good parts. You are absolutely right. Yes, we should take the good parts of the Western culture and the good parts of the Indian culture.
Here also, America, I tell them about these weaknesses, and they are so honest. They accept them because they themselves are suffering from those limitations, right? So they are very honest and accept. And then the people who really seriously take this, and the people who don't take it, that's their affair. But the people who take it, I find very sincere Americans following the ancient culture, ancient, not just India, but so many, Japan, China, or Egypt. They follow and study all cultures and learn from them. I think that's, they say I'm in the United States, right? I'm not in India since 1981. I may have come for the visit, but usually I do have limited time, 10, maybe 10 weeks or 4 weeks or like that, maximum I stayed was 10 weeks, but most of the time 4 weeks is that I used to get, then later on it went down to, the more practice improved, the more I have problem with the time to come there. But then the communications have improved. I was talking to Nach earlier. So we were able to study and learn a lot from ancient Indian scriptures, ancient Indian talks, and modern people. I learned about Krishnamurti here, but then that revolutionized my thinking, how I was identifying with one country and all. Now I don't identify with one country. I'm a world citizen. Basically, I'm a human being on this one earth. That's really reality. It's not like a big goal or big idea or anything like that. Actual fact is that, so I kind of very comfortable with that. I love India for some things. I love USA for some things, but doesn't mean I have to belong only there. I can see everybody else also as my family, right?
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah. The world is one.
The world is one, yeah. Yeah. And I know the ancient Indians, they said, we are all one. We are all ekam sat. And then they said, we are all one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And then they said, only one consciousness. There's no different consciousness, your consciousness. I was shocked when I first heard that statement from J. Krishnamurti, that your consciousness is not your consciousness. We are all only in one consciousness. That's a remarkable thing to understand and realize that,
Yeah, I think the other part of the problem in India is that, when I was, all the culture, the traditions are all part of Hinduism, but Hinduism is not like, it's not taught as a religion as such, but it's not even propagated. Like so many things I learned when I went abroad for Hinduism class, and I learned so many things about Islam when I went to college again, because I wanted to learn, because one of my cousins had done a course in Islam, so I was fascinated that if I get an opportunity, I should also learn, because why do we all our life fight over Hindu Muslim?
I don't even identify as a Hindu anymore, Kunal, because these wisdom things I'm talking about, they were there thousands of years ago when the Hinduism was not even termed. For example, Bhagavad Gita was there 1,000 years before they formed what is called Hinduism now. That is restricting people to one particular thing. You can learn the lessons from the Hinduism, but why do you have to be called a Hindu and separate yourself from other people? So that's why I don't identify myself with any ism. But in the isms, the wisdom is there, you can take that. But I don't do this ritual prayers and all those things, everything. I don't need to, because I can sit here and I will be very meditative. That is more I'm interested, But if for some people, if they see a idol, if they see a portrait to God, they can focus their mind better. That's okay for them. But so it's a stage where you are at, slowly you will pass on from one stage to the stage if you're interested. If you're not interested, that is your affair. But I don't want to call myself just like a Hindu, even though I really understand a lot of Hindu principles came from Upanishads, came from Vedas, and when they are there, they never identified Hinduism. Like, that is a fact, even Bhagavad Gita, 1,000 years before Hinduism term is born,
Doctor, I noticed in Delhi,
Yeah.
one thing that more youth, they change for the more modern style. So they used to follow the Western styles and they don't bother about the Indian culture.
That's the loss. There's a loss.
And also, the funny thing in Delhi is that nobody, I'm talking about the middle class people, okay, they even never talk on Hindi.
Yeah.
So they always talk on English and they were like a very hi-fi people. So mainly that I used to have to talk Hindi a little bit by the people who sell the sabji walas.
Yeah.
So they can't speak the English.
Yeah. I know that's actually world has become one village, right? Like that book, my friend, he wrote the Flat Earth. He wrote one Flat Earth, where everything has become flat now because of the communications, Google, internet, and all that. But in our hearts and minds, are we like that? That's the question. That's, I think, is a big liberation for us, instead of being identified with a country or identified with. When I was listening to Krishnamurti Wave in 1980s, he talked about being like that is being tribalism. People get angry when you hear that. But if you are nationalistic, if you are sovereign states, if you are having divisions through identification of several religions, basically we are being tribal. That's what he was talking about. You can choose to be if you want to, that's okay. But if you choose to be, maybe these divisions are causing problems with wars and hatred and all these impurities in our mind. That's the point. The other day I was in a room, they were kind of arguing about Hindus being, discriminated by Muslims, and Muslims are having problems with Hindus, making them minority and then putting all that. Then I said, if you don't have identification, you are all one people, you can get along, you can avoid all this misery that you are going through for decades. And why don't you understand these great principles that our ancients said about we are all one energy, and we should not divide ourselves with all this separativeness, And they didn't like that. They thought I was doing something very, okay. But I said, okay, being like that, I am peaceful. I don't have any enmity towards anybody, but I don't have to identify myself with anything. Actually, if you take the philosophies, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, ultimately they say the same thing. That is the simple truth for me, at least.
So you mean Hindustan, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I read a little bit about the Indian history. Okay, according to my textbook, even my teacher was teaching me that Mahatma Gandhi was divided Muslims to Hindus. So most of Muslims, they moved to the Pakistan.
He did not divide. That's not right. He did not divide. These
most
people.
of Hindus, stayed in India.
I know, but the thing is, the whole thing was done by Britishers. But then Gandhi was against splitting the country. He pleaded, nobody listened to him. And he also said he was like that. He wanted all the cultures to grow through his house, So he was not the one. I don't think we should give him the bad name. He says the Britishers who split us, and then there's some of the Muslims and some of the Hindus on this side. They were not living their identity as the Hindus and Muslims. They were not maintaining the identity as one country. That was the problem, I think. I think they share or somebody is here. Let's talk to them. Hello, how are you? Hello. I don't know. Am I spelling pronouncing his name correctly? Share or scare or what? I don't know. You get to unmute yourself, I think. So he wanted to come up, so or he or she, I just brought them up. He's a teacher, I believe. So.
Evet.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Rao.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
How about you?
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Sorry, can you repeat, please? I don't understand because.
No, I was trying to pronounce your name. Scare or share?
Yes, my name is Seher.
Shahar, okay.
That's my real name.
Oh, okay, very good, very good.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to our little talk here. So,
where are you from?
I am in the USA, Iowa.
US? America. Okay. Are you doctor?
Yeah.
Well, what's your profession?
I'm an internal medicine doc, but we are talking here about stress and how to.
Stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many stress.
Yeah.
Recently.
That's why we were talking about that.
Because I am from Turkey.
Turkey.
And I live in
Okay,
Turkey.
very good. Now your name makes sense to me. Shahar. That's very easy to say now. Shahar. Okay.
No, Seher.
Sahar, yeah. So, Hindi, there's a word Sahar too. That's why it's easy for me to understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Price. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Nach, I think we talked for a couple of hours now, probably, right?
Yes. So nice to meet you, Kamal. Nice to meet you, sir. Okay.
Okay, I will be talking to you next week again, okay?
Sure, doctor.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye.